Welcome back to the Daily Vent. So, continuing to go down the long list that we have on the clipboard, we'll see how quickly we get through this. This is quite a culmination of topics, but we'll see how far we go. Some things in different places I might have already covered, but we'll continue. So, the next topic on the big old list here is wokeness in Shang-Chi. And I have a quote here, or like quoting my thoughts at the time. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Classic saying, right? In brackets, either choose China pandering or woke feminism. Really should choose neither. If we're going by what action movies used to be like, right? And again, I'll afford some nuance that there were certain movies that you could argue had some feminism in it, like Charlie's Angels, although at least this was fun, you know what I mean? Like, it's that classic thing of like, how seriously do you take yourself when you're making certain comments? That's part of it. Because like I remember this one scene from Charlie's Angels where like I think it's like one of the villainesses at one point says like never send a man to do a woman's job, but she says it kind of like in a fun tongue-in-cheek kind of way where it's like you don't take it too seriously and it's not like a groaner. It's more like you know what I mean, and you move on. But nowadays it's like you're getting hit over the head with a 2x4 of ideology. You know what I mean? And it's like, please stop. So that's essentially kind of more the track of what I'm going on here, is that like Shang-Chi, actually, it's interesting because like before it came out, there was a lot of the people that I watched were talking about how it was going to be bad and terrible and everything else. And it wasn't all bad. And I don't know if they changed their thoughts after it released, but essentially the idea is like, there were things about it that I enjoyed about Shang-Chi, although there are moments where you could kind of tell, Marvel's kind of, slacking in writing wise or in the acting choices and stuff like that, or the actresses choices, etc. But I digress. There's essentially, as far as I heard about the film, I could be wrong about this, but I mean some of these things are safe assumptions at the very least, is that there is this desire that Disney has to pander to China, right? Probably because there's a lot of money, financial investment, etc., whatever you want to call it, in the Chinese market, right? For film, for sports, as far as I understand. So you have this dynamic of Disney wants to pander to China, so they make this film that involves like some attributes of Chinese culture, etc. But then because it's Disney, you also have to have some woke ideology, because nowadays they're going more and more in on this stuff. A lot of it's just crap. Anyway, so you have these two dynamics. China is very not woke, very pro-masculine as far as I can understand. Essentially how I kind of describe China is they will do whatever it takes to win, and I think that is probably a fair assessment. Just compare the military ads from like some of the ones that the States have put out recently to the Chinese military ads. That kind of tells you what you need to know. But again, like moving on. So you have like some select scenes where you're like, okay, I could kind of see how the China pandering is in this film, but at the same time, like, I'll again like say that like just because you have some China pandering doesn't necessarily make it a bad film, in the sense of like, what is the pandering? And it might not even technically be pandering, although I think it's intended as a like, oh, we have a Chinese cultural sort of take here, so you like that, right? Like, like there's kind of a goal there. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like CCP propaganda, right? But at the same time, then you also have like, again, spoilers maybe if you haven't seen the film. There's the guy's sister. It kind of becomes sort of like, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I think like the guy's sister becomes like sort of a villainess or whatever. And at the end of the movie, or throughout different scenes, I think you kind of see where like, okay, they're kind of maybe doing the Mary Sue thing here with her fighting abilities and etc. And then, or you can maybe argue that maybe it wasn't as much of a Mary Sue, although maybe it was, or in terms of how realistic the dynamics were, whatever. But the main point is at the end of the film, where like it feels very much feminist take on it, where it's like she is now running the show, she's running the dojo. It purposefully pans the camera to a bunch of women all together fighting, and then goes further back to some men that are further away from her like throne area. And so it just like, you could say, oh well, that doesn't mean anything, but I mean, if you know what Disney's been doing and you take an honest look at what's happening, it kind of feels like they're trying to do the, oh, girl power, whammon, feminism stuff. And again, I will be fair, and it's like you can have girl power scenes that are fun. Again, I'll use the example of Charlie's Angels. By and large, I'd say a pretty fun movie. Like, no movie really is perfect, but in the sense that it's like there are fun elements there. And Shang-Chi had some fun elements as well. I kind of appreciated that it in a way it felt kind of like just a kung fu movie. It wasn't the same as kung fu movies, but like there's some good fight scenes and etc. And so like I can appreciate that. Like there were some good things about it, but you could kind of tell where it's like, okay, trying to do the China pandering thing, also kind of trying to insert a little bit of the feminism, you know, woman power stuff in there too. My main point is that when it comes to the whole you can't have your cake and eat it too concept, it's like as soon as you start the feminism, it's probably fair to say that China will then tune out. So you've tried to make this movie potentially to pander to China, but then you put in the feminism and then China's like, nope. I don't know if that's exactly what happened. I don't know if it affected their sales in China because of those scenes, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Again, I don't have the facts in front of me. Feel free to look it up. Don't take my word for it. This is merely just a guess at what happened, because I've been kind of out of the loop on some things. I heard from a friend that China has like abandoned Shang-Chi around the time or just before it came out. I don't know if that's what happened. It could have happened, but the general concept here, the theme is that when you tend to go woke, China tends to be like, nope. You know what I mean? So essentially I'll leave that there. Till next time, this has been The Daily Vent.